I want to just start by talking a little bit about, I guess, who we are. So who are we? So Cred, Cred is a company that is about 2 years old, and at this point is in 183 countries, serving people around the world with better banking services. Basically, you can earn 10%, you can borrow at single-digit interest rates, and soon you're going to see a really interesting demonstration of how we're offering these financial services in ways that are much, much better than Square. To this industry. So we're based in the Bay Area in San Francisco, and we're also in San Mateo and down south in LA. We're also part of the Universal Protocol Alliance, which is an alliance of amazing blockchain companies. We think the leaders in the space, and we've all come together to build some technology. All right. To build some technology here that we're going to demonstrate for you that really is practical. Uphold is part of this alliance. Uphold is arguably the best custodial wallet in the world. You can hold your gold, silver, and platinum, and Bitcoin, and dollars all in one place. And we're leveraging in a big way Uphold's technology with what we built. We've got Cred, which is arguably one of the best code auditors in the world. That any ICO that basically took place was probably audited by Cred. We've got in the alliance Omisa and Omisa Go, and their layer 2 plasma technology for Ethereum is really probably also arguably the best. Blockchain at Berkeley, which is the largest university-affiliated blockchain organization, I think, in the world, and some of the smartest people I've ever met that are in this space. They're part of this alliance. And we've got Cred, Uphold, Omisa Go, Blockchain at Berkeley, Uphold, Cred, I think I've said them all, and Bittrex. Bittrex is one of the largest exchanges in the world. We're also working very, very closely with our friends and partners from Bitcoin.com that are here tonight, and you'll see all of this technology now coming together. So that is the alliance, and the overall mission of this alliance is to basically bring in the next 100 million users of crypto in very concrete, practical ways, and you'll see this very practical demonstration tonight. Make crypto interoperable, bring mainstream safeguards to users, and make the technology sort of something that happens behind the scenes, so you don't even know that you're using blockchain, and it's just faster, easier, cheaper, everything that you would expect. We're also joined tonight by Councilman Ben Bartlett. We're really happy to have you here. You may have seen the news a month ago that Councilman Bartlett of Berkeley was the first to actually do a live transaction, cannabis transaction, and hopefully you'll do another one tonight and show everyone. And Mayor Ali Medina is with us, and Ali's the mayor of this fine city, Emeryville, and responsible for permitting this fine establishment as well, and largely responsible for us all being here. So thank you, Mayor Ali. So I just want to spend a couple quick minutes on what we're doing here. So what we've come together to do is fix something that we think is really broken. And that is, it's still the dark ages when it comes to payments with things like cannabis. For the $2 billion a year in California alone, in cannabis sales, you are literally directing people over to an ATM machine, taking cash out, and there's security risks, there are a lot of expenses, and in particular, you've got a very difficult time if you're a cash-based business with even trying to be compliant and pay your taxes and everything. So big problem, and there's gridlock at the federal level in terms of these cannabis banking bills, and we come together to basically offer something up with the technology that's really quite amazing. It's live. That terminal that you see on the table in the middle. Hopefully, all of you will buy something tonight. allows you to, in real time, purchase a product with any crypto wallet. If you happen to have Bitcoin Cash loaded up tonight, that's how you'll pay. And it ends up in the merchant's account in real time in what's called a stablecoin. And a stablecoin is basically a one-to-one pegged dollar in crypto form. So not only does the merchant get their money and they can use it, they can cash it back into dollars, but they also, the city officials can get their tax in real time, transaction by transaction. Rather than waiting 6 months, you can actually get your tax revenue and you can forecast what you want to do with it and have much more control. So this is just, this is better than a corner coffee shop merchant that uses Square all around. The money that comes in earns 10%. You can borrow against it. It's kind of like the future of banking in a box that we're going to show you tonight. So I mentioned a little bit about why this is, why we're here, what the problem that we're fixing. It's really, this third one, which is so many companies out there are just poorly banked, right? You just can't, it's hard enough to get a bank account. It's hard enough to then pay your suppliers. There's a whole supply chain issue that's happening. Even if you fix the ability to allow someone to pay with an electronic payment, you still have to figure out how to pay everyone else. And that's a problem. So we're able to fix that, and we'll show you tonight very, very practically. Cash is just a pain. So the other thing that I just wanted to mention here, I think, is that it is incredibly expensive to this day to do transactions. You end up paying, as a merchant, cash can cost as much as 10%. Visa and MasterCard transactions can cost a significant amount. What we're offering up is running everything, whether it's credit card, debit card, crypto, gift cards, on these blockchain rails that effectively make these transactions free for businesses. That's huge. And not only free for businesses, but if consumers are paying with, let's say, the equivalent of a Starbucks reloadable card, they're getting cash back. So we're turning something that has historically been a big cost center into a revenue center for businesses and making this much more efficient for everyone that's involved. So with that, merchants, basically, businesses get better banking, and we're starting with cannabis. In the cannabis sector, because that's where the pain is biggest, right? But this is something that benefits everyone. Governments get their fair share. Whether you're paying again with a credit or debit card doesn't matter. Everything gets converted to crypto, and then everything ultimately gets settled in real time and can be used with fiat or crypto. And you ultimately give consumers choice. Doesn't matter if your wallet is coming from one wallet or another. If your money is coming from any crypto wallet, all of it is acceptable. So you don't have to have a specialized proprietary application in order to do these things. You can do what you've always done, and that's important because we don't want to focus on changing consumer behavior. We want to make it just simpler and easier, and that's what blockchain is really for. So with that, I wanted to just invite Mayor Alan Medina to come up and maybe say a few words about this tonight event.
Thank you so much, Dan. Thank you all for coming to Emeryville tonight. Woo! Now, some of you might be surprised that we're doing a crypto and cannabis event in the city of Emeryville, but we have a long history of boundary pushing. In 1927, Chief Justice Earl Warren declared Emeryville the rottenest city of all the Pacific Coast. We can celebrate that a little bit here tonight. But in reality, we're here because we have a phenomenal facility, Ohana Cannabis, run by Nasser Azimi and his family, who have been so gracious to host us. And because my day job is that I'm the director of the Blockchain Advocacy Coalition. And one of the things I wanted to focus on this year is finding real virtual currency solutions for the government. How can cryptocurrency actually fulfill its promise of making the world a better place and kind of eliminating some of the inefficiencies we see in the traditional banking system? And frankly, it was Treasurer Fiona Ma who said, oh, can we just do this for cannabis? Because we have a huge issue at the state level with this. And so we drafted a bill, Assembly Bill 953, This bill would allow the state to establish well-employed guidelines for cities and the state government to accept stablecoins for cannabis tax remittance. And that's because of a lot of the problems that Dan was speaking about. And those problems are felt acutely. The city of Sacramento had 10 break-ins in a single month this summer. One of those break-ins was a car driving into the actual dispensary. Having tons of cash laying around is not a good idea, and it's a problem that the state of California set up businesses to have. And so we need to think of creative solutions, and virtual currency is a really good one for this particular case. I'm really excited, and I can shout about it all I want, but I'm the mayor of a very small city, the mayor of Emeryville. And I'm really lucky, because I'm not alone. In Berkeley, we have Councilmember Ben Bartlett, who has been an early supporter of virtual currency and actually introduced the microbond ordinance. It would be putting microbonds on blockchain. He is going to share some really exciting news with us. But what we need to do is build a statewide movement to figure out common sense solutions to problems like this. And I'm really happy to have it start here in Emeryville, but I'm really excited for what my colleagues in Berkeley are going to be doing. Coming up, Ben.
Thank you, Mayor Medina. Wow, Emeryville's in good hands. Thank you, Nasir, for hosting us. This place is beautiful, amazing. Thank you, Dan, for your innovation and you're turning the key into the lock, because the problem is real and the solution's apparent. You know, in Berkeley, where I come from, where I represent, many activists, including my father, in our exact district that I represent as well, recognized there was an AIDS epidemic ravaging the country. The medication was intermittent, non-existent, or just too expensive, or too damaging to the body. You also had a Reagan-era drug war and a Nixon-era legacy drug war that had so many people in prison for drugs. And in prison they worked for free. And dismantled families and broke apart the economy. And going further, we had Prop 13, which kind of bound up the state's tax revenues. So we're always searching for tax revenue. And so in that triumvirate of issues, activists were born. And they advocated, and then Berkeley became the first city to decriminalize and then to introduce medicinal marijuana. And the first store, if you will, was in my district as well, so I'm very proud of that. Now fast forward, 20 years later, we have so many people in prison, such a deep tax need, and also this new health emergency that's born from addiction and born from the new environment where more than half of young people, for the first time, have chronic illnesses. This is brand new. We're in need of a health revolution, criminal justice reform, and a way to fund it. And that's why California decided to legalize cannabis once for all. And here we are. But the problem is, among those two facets, it's great. With health, we have the new CBD products. As you see, we have health galore, right? They're gonna cure everything via the plant. You also have people getting released from prison. They're not arresting people that were solely affecting, even the president just passed comprehensive criminal justice reform in this country. But what's missing is the money. When 70% of these operators are unbanked, we're missing money. So when you see homeless people on the street, you say, oh my God, what are they doing? What are they doing? What are they doing? Well, guess what? That costs money. And we're not paying for it. Then who is? We have to tax our businesses to pay for homelessness, to pay for health care, to pay for the fact that California is the wealthiest state in the country by far, but also the poorest state. Our money must come along with this wellness economy. So, one way that we can ease the burden among these companies, these pioneers of health and wellness, is to alleviate their burden and make it so they don't have to hire Brinks armored cars every day to fulfill their obligations and deposit their money. And we don't let Wall Street determine what we do. We learn what happens. We learned in 2008, 2007, really Wall Street won your economy. What happens? We take it back through innovation. In this area, Berkeley, the Bay Area, Silicon Valley, the innovation that we did to create cannabis is now creating a mechanism to enable the cannabis economy to actually happen. And that's Dan's really epitomizing this with your product, so amazing. So, we did the first transaction, utilizing technology. We bought some cannabis. It was pain reliever. If the news is here, it was just pain reliever for my mom. She has a bad knee. Wasn't getting high. I was buying pain reliever. We bought the product, and at the instant of purchase, the information about myself, who I am, my legal nature, was kept and transmitted on the blockchain. The money to the store was submitted, and at the same exact moment, the tax payment was remitted to the state and the county and the city. In one fell swoop. That's innovation. The human mind loves efficiency, and here we are in the middle of it right now. So I'm proud to say that having experienced that product, that apparatus, I'm introducing now Berkeley, the city of Berkeley, to use the same methodology for our cannabis operators to alleviate their burdens and to achieve safety for one, but also tax revenue for the city of Berkeley. So big stuff to do. And I want to tell you further, I do sit on the state blockchain task force, where I'm charged with a few other people with crafting the policies of the state of California around blockchain. So I'll be bringing in the microbonds from Berkeley. These are low-cost bonds to finance housing infrastructure for all of us, and also cannabis, crypto connectivity. And so I want to thank you all for coming, and I encourage you to please take a step forward and advocate in your communities and help Allie do her duty and deliver this new economy. All doors open. Thank you.